Good evening, everyone. I will be presenting to you my report, How Organization Functions, presented by Hamito Daphne B., Instructor Sepulveda Wilborn, Human Resource Management. These are my objectives. In the end of the presentation, we may be able to define the basic considerations in the organization's functions, identify the organization theories, enumerate the types of organization, appreciate the importance of the organizational functions, and apply the organization functions in our real life. The basic considerations, the two factors that determine how an organization functions in relation to its internal and external environment, are its structure and the processes that operate within it. The organization theories, the classical school or scientific management school as presented by Fayol in 1916, Taylor in 1911, and Yorwick in 1947 believe in control, order, and formality. Organizations need to minimize the opportunity for unfortunate and uncontrollable informal relations, leaving room only for the formal ones. The scientific school of management is one of the schools that make a classical management theory, still very much concerned with increasing productivity and efficiency in organizations and by finding the best way to do something. The scientific school of management is focused on the science of creating specialized work processes and workforce skills to complete the production task efficiently. The classical school, the, uh, the classical school scientific theories such as Frederick Taylor, Henry Gantt, and Frank Lillian Hillbreath spent their time researching how a specific job was done, what steps were taken by an employee to complete the work, the amount of time it took a worker to complete a task using different methods, and then using this information to determine which was the most effective. The bureaucratic model, Peru in 1980, is a way of expressing how organizations function as machines and can be therefore be associated with some of the ideas generated by the classical school. When you read the term bureaucratic model, you might think of a government. A government agency is a strong example of these terms, meaning the bureaucratic model of the organization as described by Peru in 1980. Max Weber in 1946, who coined the term bureaucracy as a label for a type of formal organization in which personality and rationality are developed to the highest degree. He believed bureaucracy was the most efficient way to set up an organization administration. Max Weber believed that bureaucracy was a better than traditional structures. In a bureaucratic organizations, everyone is treated equal and the division of the labor is clearly described for each employee. The Human Relations School. During the Industrial Revolution in the early 1920s, The human relations theory of management was developed. The focus of business at the time was productivity. Professor Elton Mayo launched his studies, the Hawthorne studies, to show that humans, not computers, are the most important factors in productivity. There are the evident during human relations studies. The first is the individual attention and recognitions aligns with the human relations theory. Many theories supported the motivational theory. Studies supported the importance of human relations in business. The Behavioral Science School, Ar Argyris believed that individuals should be given the opportunity to feel that they have a high degree of control over setting their own goals and over defining the path to these goals. By Herzberg suggested that improvement in organization design must center on that individual job as the positive source of motivation. If individuals feels that the job is stretching them, they will be moved to perform it well. MacGregor emphasizes the importance of recognizing the needs of both the organization and the individual. MacGregor creating conditions that will reconcile these needs so that the members of the organization can work together for its success and share in its rewards. Likert stated that effective organizations function by means of supportive relationship which, if fostered, will build and maintain people's sense of personal worth and importance. Uh, Next is the systems school. Another important insight into how organizations functions was provided by Miller and Rice stated that organizations should be treated treated as open systems which are continually dependent upon and influenced by their environments. The basic characteristics of the enterprise as an open system is that it transforms inputs into outputs within its environment. As Katz and Kahn in 1966 wrote, systems theory is basically concerned with problems of relationship, of structure, and if interdependence. As a result, the concept of a transactions across boundaries between the system and its environment, as well as between the various sections of the system, is given a lot of attention. This open a dynamic approach avoided the mistake of classical bureaucratic and human relations theories, who viewed organization as closed systems and analyzed their problems in terms of their internal internal structures and processes of interaction without taking into account external influences and the changes they impose, or the organization's technology. The social technical model. The interconnectedness of social and technological aspects of an organization or society as a whole is referred to as social technical. Excuse me. The social technical model, the primary premise of this paradigm is that technical and task components are inextricable. Uh, the is the technical and task components to human and social aspects in any organizational system. The focus is on the interrelationship between, on the one hand, and the technical transformation processes that take place within the organization of work groups and the enterprise's management structures. These methods avoid the behavioral scientists, humanities, generalizations without falling into the trap of considering the organization as the machine. The contingency school or the contingency school. Burns and Stoker in 1961, Woodward in 1965, and Lawrence and Lorks in 1976 are members of the contingency school, which have studied a range of organizations and concluded that their structures and ways of functioning are a function of the conditions in which they exist. They do not believe that there is a single ideal approach to construct an organization, or that categorizing organizations as formal or informal, the bureaucratic or non bureaucratic, is helpful. They are opposed to those who regard organizations as mutual antagonist social systems which uh, pit formal versus informal groups. They oppose those who enforce strict organizational principles regardless of technology or environment factors. The Mintzberg in 1983 analyzed organizations into five broad types of configurations. The first one is the simple structures, which are dominated by the top of the organization with centralized decision making. The simple structures, many businesses aim to emulate the entrepreneurial organization's speed, flexibility, and leanness. However, when businesses grow, these structures may become insufficient as decision makers may become overburdened and make poor decisions. This is the point at which they must begin to share power and decision maker. Furthermore, when a company's success is dependent on one or two individuals selling up, moving on to new entrepreneurial projects, or retiring poses a big risk. In machine bureaucracy, which is characterized by the standardization of work processes and the extensive reliance on systems and the professional bureaucracy, where the standardization of skills provide the prime coordinating mechanism. The professional structures, according to Mintzberg, is also quiet bureaucratic. Professional organizations may from professional organization from machine organization in that they rely on highly trained individuals who seek control over their own work. As a result, while there is a lot of specialization, decision making is decentralized. This structure is popular in places like schools and universities, as well as accountancy and legal businesses, because it is usual when the organization compromise a big number of knowledge employees. The the uh, the professional organizations complex, and there are lots of rules and procedures. This allows it to enjoy the efficiency benefits of a machine structure, even though the output is generated by highly trained professionals who have autonomy and considerable power. The disadvantage with the professional structure is the lack of control that senior executives can exercise, because authority and power are spread down through the hierarchy. This can make these organizations hard to change. The next is the divisionalized structures in which authority is drawn down from the top, and the activities are grouped together into units which are then managed according to their standardized output. The the fundamental advantage of a divisional organizations over a machine structures is that it allows line managers to keep more control and accountability. Furthermore, by decentralizing day-to-day decision making, the central team may focus on big picture strategic planning. This enables them to ensure that the required support systems for success are in place. The divisionalized structures can tend to be in conflict because they each need to compete for limited resources from headquarters, and these organizations can be inflexible, so they work best in industries that are stable and not too complex. The adhocracies, where power is decentralized selectively to constellations of work that are free to coordinate within and between themselves by mutual adjustment. The traditional organizations are best served by the structures outlined those far. To uh, to the business must innovate. The business must innovate and operate on a ad hoc basis. Ad hoc is adhocracies. Bureaucracy, complexity, and centralization are far too restrictive in these organizations. The clear advantage of adhocracies is that they maintain a central pool of talent from which people can be drawn at any time to solve problems and work in a highly flexible way. Workers, typically move from team to team and projects are completed and as new projects develop. Because of this, adhocracies can respond quickly to change by bringing together skilled experts able to meet new challenges. The organization structure defined. The structure of an organization can be regarded as a framework for getting things done. It consists of units, functions, divisions, department, and formally constituted work into which activities related to particular processes, projects, products, market, customers, geographical areas, or professional disciplines are grouped together. The Next is the organization chart. An organizational chart, also known as an organigram or organogram or organizational breakdown structure, is a diagram that depicts on organization structures as well as the relationship and relative ranks of its many elements and positions job. The next is the types of organization. The first one is the line and staff. The line and staff organization was the type favored by the classical theorists. The classical theorists preferred the line and staff organizational structure, despite the fact that the term is no longer widely used, except when referring to line managers. It still describes a variety of structures. The, the line hierarchy in the structures is made up of uh, functions and managers who are directly involved in the attaining the organization's major goals such as manufacturing and selling or overall directions. Finance, personnel, and engineering staff provide services to the line to enable them to get on with their work. The divisionalized organization. Divisionalized organizational structures is one in which the output of the corporation is overseen by the numerous different divisions. The the divisionalized organizations unique advantages, but they offers unique advantages but can be detrimental to small businesses and can actually bring productivity down if poorly managed, as first described by Sloan in 1963 on the basis of his experience in running General Motors, involved structuring the organizations into separate divisions, each concerned with discrete manufacturing, sales, distributions, or services functions, or with serving a particular market. At group headquarters, functional departments may exist in such areas as finance, planning, personnel, legal, and engineering to provide services to the divisions and importantly to exercise a degree of uh, functional control over their activities. The amount of control exercised will depend on the extent to which the organization has decided to decentralize authority to strategic business units positions close to the markets they serve. Next is the matrix organization. Organizations are project-based. Development, design, or construction projects will be controlled by project directors or managers, or in the case of consultancy, assignments will be conducted by project leaders. Project management will have no permanent staff except possible sub-administrative secretarial support. The members of the project teams will come from discipline groups, each of which will be headed up by a director manager. They will be responsible for developing and managing its members and ensuring they are assigned to project teams. The matrix design keeps open communication between teams and can help companies create more innovative products and services. The next is the organizational processes. Organizational processes, group behavior, the formal and informal groups. The processes that take place within groups, the channels of communication, the tasks and maintenance functions, the group ideology and cohesion, the concept of a reference group and its impact on the group members, the factors that make for group effectiveness, the stages of group development, and the group identification. The formal groups, the structure, the formal groups are set up by organizations. People are brought together with the necessary skills to carry out the task, and system exists for directing, coordinating, and controlling the group's activities. The structures, compositions, and size of a group will depend largely on the nature of the task. The more routine or clearly defined the task is, the more structured the group will be. The informal groups are set up by people in organizations who have some affinity for one another. It could be said that formal groups satisfies the needs of the organization, while informal groups satisfy the needs of their members. The informal groups, the values and norms established by informal groups can work against the organization. This was first clearly established in the Hawthorne studies. An understanding of the processes that take place within groups can, however, helpful to make them work for rather than against what the organization needs. The group processes refers to how an organization's members work together to get things done. Leadership, power, politics, and conflict. The main processes that affect how organizations functions are leadership, power, politics, and conflict. The leadership is the function of team leaders is to achieve the task set for them with the help of the group. Leaders have two main roles. The first one is to achieve the task, and the second is to maintain effective relationship. First, they must achieve the task. Second, they have to maintain effective relationship between themselves and the group and individuals in it. Effective in the sense that they are conducive to achieving the task. The next one is the power. The power is the capacity to secure the dominance of one's goals or values over others. Organizations exist to get things done, and in the process of doing this, people or groups exercise power directly or indirectly. The use of power in influencing behavior is a pervading feature of organizations, whether it is exerted by managers, specialists, informal groups, or trade union officials. The uh, the next one is the politics. Excuse me. Power and politics are inextricable, inextricably mixed, and in any organization there will inevitably be people who want to achieve their satisfaction by acquiring power legitimately or illegitimately. My summary: in the basic considerations, there are two factors that determine how an organization functions in relation to its internal and external environment. There are organization theories that are used to minimize the opportunity for unfortunate and controllable informal relations. Organization structures incorporate a network of roles and relationships and are there to help in the process of ensuring. There are organization theories that are used to minimize the opportunity for unfortunate and uncontrollable informal relations. Organization structures incorporate a network of roles and relationships and are there to help in the process of ensuring that collective effort is explicitly organized to achieve specified ends. There are types of organization that needed to be acknowledged. Organization process help in understanding the structural framework. My conclusion: as a result, organizational functions aids in the achievement of goals, which is critical for a company's success. In the organizational function, it is important to establish the role positions, associated jobs, and the coordination between authority and responsibility. My applications of the lesson: like organizational functions, life has a lot of activities and processes that we need to undergo in an order for us to be successful someday. In our class, organization functions may be referred to the giving of assignments, activities, quizzes, performances, reporting, and exam, which help us to learn more and finish our studies. These are my references slides. And my acknowledgement: I would like to acknowledge our instructor, Sir Wilborn Sepulveda, for making this presentation possible and also for giving us enough time to make the presentation. And also to my family who supported me in the beginning, and also to my friends and classmates who helped me in my presentation. That's all my report. Thank you for listening and God bless everyone.
Good day everyone, I'm Lekashin Geronimo and I'm the one who will report the organizational culture. And before that, we have the objectives. So first, define the organizational culture. Second, to categorize the cultures. Third, recognize opportunities to build employees with an organization. Third, discuss the discussions under the cultural strength improves organization's performance. And lastly, to enjoy and understand well the examples videos. So next, what is organizational culture? So, organizational culture or corporate culture is the pattern of values, norms, beliefs, attitudes, and assumptions that may not have been articulated but shape the ways in which people behave and things get done. So, in that definition, it emphasizes that organizational culture is concerned with abstractions such as values and norms, which pervade the whole or part of an organization. So let's watch this video so all of us can relate about this topic.
Regardless of whether your business is two friends in a garage or a global corporation, your business will have a particular vibe. This is often referred to as organizational culture and can be defined as a set of key values, beliefs, understandings, and norms shared by members of an organization. An organizational culture will occur naturally, but it can also be grown and shaped over time. This is important as not all cultures are conducive to healthy working environments. Generating a positive organizational culture not only makes your company a great place to work, but also increases productivity and reduces employee turnover. But how can we change an organization's culture? This is a notoriously difficult thing to do, but it must be a priority for any successful company. Business guru Peter Drucker sums it up best when he says, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast."
Okay, on what we can see in the video, it's all about and how people emphasize the organizational culture. So next, what is climate? So climate is employees' perception of the atmosphere of the internal environment, such as its rules, how employees are treated, which is important to the group and organizational success. So next one is, what is organizational climate? So organizational climate determines the work environment in which the employee feels satisfied or dissatisfied. So for example, these studies into the organizational safety climate affect the way supervisors communicate and monitor safety behavior, which in turn affects the priorities set by the employees, their attitudes and compliance. So let's have another example.
Is a good worker. That's something everybody agrees on, but only a few know what lies behind it. Worker satisfaction is connected with many factors, which, like a complex mechanism, have a direct impact on their efficiency and productivity. The organizational climate within the company is one of the key elements of work and business that ensure the stable success of a company. The DECRA Organizational Climate and Employee Satisfaction is a method used for defining satisfaction and motivation factors, along with general psychological atmosphere in your company. Besides assessment scales, the questionnaire also contains semi-open and open questions where employees are free to express their opinions. Testing lasts for 30 minutes and is carried out via the DECRA-HR.net application, which can be accessed from anywhere. We also offer a live testing for companies that prefer the option of the pen and paper method. After the processing and detailed analysis of the particulars, the results of every organizational climate's dimension are presented graphically and separately. These results will show the level of employee satisfaction with the critical, medium, and positive aspects of an organization, the so-called traffic light. Based on these results, we'll prepare recommendations for human resource management so that the climate in your company will always be sunny and bright with happy and successful employees.
So if we can see, it's all about the organizational climate. Since satisfaction determines or influences the efficiency of the employees, we can say that organizational climate is directly related to the efficiency and performance of the employees. So, as a set of measurable properties of the perceived work environment, directly or indirectly, it created by individuals who live and work in this environment, and that influences the motivation and behavior of these people or for these employees. So next is the significance of culture. So what is this? Organizational cultures offers a shared system of meanings, which is the basis of communication and mutual understanding. So, culture represents the social glue or generates a we feeling, thus counteracting processes of differentiations which are an unavoidable part of organization's life. If these functions are not fulfilled in a satisfactory way, culture may significantly reduce the efficiency of an organization. Next is how organizational culture develops. The value and norms that are the basis of culture are formed in three ways. First, culture is formed by the leaders in the organization, especially those who have shaped it in the past. So in the first way, they note what such leaders pay attention to and treat them as a role models. Second, as Shane also points out, the culture is formed around critical incidents. It is important events from which lessons are learned about desirable or undesirable behavior. And lastly, as proposed by Farnham and Cantor, culture develops from the need to maintain effective working relationships among organization members. So in the last way, this establishes values and expectations. Finally, culture is influenced by the organization's environment. The external environment may be relatively dynamic or unchanging. So before the step, we have to play this video. And now we understand the organization cultures develops now. And next we proceed to the components of culture. So first we have the values. So what is values? So these are the beliefs in what is best or good for the organization and what should or ought to happen. The stronger values, the more they will influence behavior. This is not dependent upon their having been articulated. So what is norms? Norms tell people what they are supposed to be doing, saying, believing, even wearing. They are never expressed in writing. If an organizational culture, they would be policies or procedures. So in the values, we have the performance, competence, competitiveness, innovation, quality, customer service, teamwork, care and consideration for people. And while in norms, we have the status. So what is status? Status is the how much importance is attached to it, the existence or lack of obvious status or symbols. Next is ambition. Ambition is expected and approved of, or more subtitle approach. That's called, So next is performance. The accepting performance standards are general. The highest praise that can be given in the organization is to be referred to as very professional. Next is the power. It recognized as way of life. Next is the politics. Rife throughout the organization and treated as normal behavior, or it is not accepted as overt behavior. Next is the loyalty. It expected or a cradle-to-grave approach to careers. Next is the anger. it expressed through others, or it possibly political. Next is approachability. Managers are expected to be approachable and visible. Last is the formality. A cool, formal approach is the norm. There are unwritten but clearly understood rules about dress. So next is supporting and changing cultures. So culture supported and reinforcement on what leaders pay attention to, measure and control. Next, leaders' reactions to critical incidents and crises. Third, deliberate role modeling, teaching and coaching by leaders. Fourth, criteria for allocating of rewards and status. And fifth, criteria for recruitment, selection, promotions, and commitment. And the culture change. So in culture change, we have the performance. So first, what is performance? So performance related or contribution related by performance management process. Next is the commitment, communication, participation, and involvement programs. Developing a climate of cooperation and trust, clarifying the psychology or contract. Next is quality. It is a total quality and continuous improvement. Next is customer service. Customer are programmers. Teamwork, team building, team performance management, or team rewards. Next is organizational learning. It is learning taking steps to enhance intellectual capital and the organization's resource-based capability by developing a learning organization. Next is the values, gaining understanding, acceptance, and commitment through involvement in defining values. And also, it performs management process and employee development interventions. And last but not the least topic is the change management. The effectiveness of culture change programs largely depends on the quality of change management process. So that's the end of our topic. But now let's have the summary. So my summary for this topic is an organization's culture defines the proper way to behave within the organization. Organizational cultures is the collections of values, expectations, and practices that guide and inform the action inside the organization or inside the company. This culture consists of shared beliefs and policies established by leaders and then communicated and reinforced through various methods, ultimately shaping employee perceptions, behaviors, and understanding. Next is the conclusion. It includes culture and organization's expectation for how people behave and work together, and how will they function as a team. And this way, culture can break down the boundaries between silos, teams, and guide decision making. So, application of the lesson. So, for me, it helps in the organizational culture can help with daily life and how to get along with time or attitude with people. In culture, we can get behavior and difficult to change. We have to be motivated if there's problem that we want to resolve. We have to go. So this is my references. And last but not the least is the acknowledgement. I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to all those people who gave me the possibility to complete this report. Special thanks to our God because He gives me strength to finish the studies. I would also like to acknowledge my friends for motivating me. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Mr. Suplevita. And that's all. Thank you. Have a great day.